CNBC came out with an article titled, "To Retire at 65, Millennials Will Need to Save Nearly Half of Their Paycheck." And I'm definitely making this video today because I want you, the viewer, if you watch my channel, to not have to worry about these silly little articles that the news has been putting out over the past 2 years. I've seen a lot of talk about how millennials will not be able to retire and how millennials can't buy houses, how millennials are struggling financially and all this stuff. And the main part of this channel is I want to share with you how quickly you can go from zero to financial independence, because I'm going to share with you how I do it. And with that, I'm going to share videos on how you can do it as well. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to share with you all different kinds of stories and deals on how you can get there. But back to this article, I think this stuff is silly. I really dislike articles like this because it kind of puts you in a position to feel like you can't retire at the age of 65, which is an absurd number. If you're watching this channel, I think you should be focused on retiring significantly sooner than that. If you're following this channel, I hope you are similar minded to me in that you're looking to cut down your expenses as much as possible, live a minimalistic lifestyle, and invest all of your money really efficiently so that you can escape the rat race and retire really young, which is what my goal is. This article touches on the idea that 15% of your paycheck is the general rule of thumb for, putting money towards retirement. Now, the key I want you to focus on with articles like this is I don't want you to be the norm. I want you to be way above the norm. I want you to see investing for what it is, and it is an opportunity to get you into a much better financial situation really quickly, and it can happen very quickly. Now, I haven't made a video on this, but I will be in the next couple months. Essentially, you can buy a house. You can be one decision away from putting yourself in a position where you can be financially independent within just a couple years. It's called house hacking. If you're not familiar, it's basically just simply buying a house and renting out the rooms to roommates. And this serves two purposes. One, greatly increases your income, and two, it massively reduces your expenses, sometimes being able to live for free. And in some extreme situations, you can actually cash flow even while living in the property. I really don't want you to focus on these numbers and all these types of articles, and it looks like they're factual. I'm not hating on the article and the data within the article, but you as the viewer, I want you to realize that this does not apply to you. According to Olivia S. Mitchell, professor of insurance and risk management and business economics and public policy, at Wharton's Pension Research Council at the University of Pennsylvania, talks about how millennials should aim to set aside nearly half of their income for the future. Now, this is entirely possible if you're a high income earner and you keep expenses low, but realistically, when you're just getting out of college, and I know who watches these videos, you're generally the age right out of college to your young 30s, so you're going to be in the early parts of your career, and you probably aren't earning that much money just yet. So the key with these articles is to not look at it in a very factual way, even though it's factual data, but I want you to focus on what you can do and be much different than the people they're talking about in this article. So if you're a millennial out there, in order to not fit in, I think you should follow the plan of what I detail. And the easiest way to be above average and to get out of this mindset of needing to set aside half your income for retirement and worrying about retiring at the age of 65 is to buy a house young. You can do it seller finance, you can do it with low down payment, and you rent out the rooms, or if you want to go to a small multifamily, you can get multiple units and rent them all out and live for free. Now, I'll be making plenty of videos on this stuff in the future, so make sure to hit subscribe so you can follow along. I've already made a few on how I've done it so far, and again, I'm like a beginner, and in the 5 deals I've done, or 6 deals, however many I've done, 2 of them have already been seller finance. So the deals are out there, they're plentiful, and really, if you really think about it, if you're in your early to mid 20s, you could be even in your 30s, if you're willing to compromise a little bit, you could be one decision away from being financially free. To make it clear, in this house I live in, I will detail all of the numbers for you in a future video when I officially purchase it, but right now, I could leave my job and essentially retire at 29 years old from one deal. All right, let me reiterate, one deal. So you, the viewer, you are only one deal away from putting yourself in a much better financial position and not having to worry about articles like this that detail how you should save half your income and you won't be able to retire until the age of 65. That's nonsense. Please do not follow this. And please look at these articles for what they are, just a set of data that does not apply to you. There's a T. Rowe Price survey that they mentioned, something like half of millennials are planning to contribute less than 6% of their income to a 401k this year. Now, I've made a video on why I don't contribute to my 401k, but I don't really think it's the best strategy if you're in your 20s and if you want to maximize your financial future today. Now, obviously, real estate is much riskier than a 401k, and I'm totally willing to have a debate about 401ks. The 401ks, for the most part, are really beneficial, And for the most part, for most people, I would recommend it. However, you watching these videos, I know that you want to go from zero to financial independence as quickly as possible. And I would not recommend putting money in a 401k. What I would recommend doing is figuring out how to pay down all of your debt first, figuring out how to save up money for a down payment, whether that's using conventional lending or seller financing, and getting into a house or multifamily unit where you can rent out all the rooms. Because I'm a visual person and I want to share with you some numbers, I'm going to jump into my computer and help show you exactly what I'm talking about. So let's think about this. Let's say every year you're spending on your living expenses, you're spending, let's just call it $1,000 a month. And that equals $12,000 a year. That's in living expenses. So what I'm talking about with the house hacking strategy is this. You can buy a house and you don't even need a huge down payment. Don't worry about playing by the bank's rules. Again, if you're watching these videos of mine, we're going to talk about seller financing a lot because that's going to be your way out. Don't worry about saving up 100 grand. You don't need a bunch of cash. You don't need to play by the bank's rules and save up 25%. Some instances you can get a house for $5,000. Now, I won't be extreme because I want this to apply to everyone. But let's say you're able to save up $20,000 over a 3 or 4 year period. And with that, you're able to put money down into a house that costs, I don't know, I'm just coming up with random numbers here. Let's just call it $200,000. So you have 10% into a house. But let's just say it's a 4 to 5 bed house and you're able to rent out each room for $600 a month. Now, with this strategy, you're going to be upping your income potentially $2,400 a month increase in income. But what it also does, it helps reduce your living expenses to zero. All right, so we just discovered that you're spending $12,000 a year in living expenses. So now we can eliminate that cost. And because your, let's just call it your total living expenses was $2,000 a month in the new house, right? You're now cash flowing $400 a month in cash flow. This is another income stream, right? So now you're cash flowing $400 a month and you essentially are saving $1,000 a month because you're no longer paying those living expenses, right? So you just increased your income $1,400 a month. This is how you massively improve your financial situation if you're a millennial. Now, I know some people watching this video might not be millennials, but this can still apply to everyone. So really the key takeaway, and I've said it a few times, but I want to reiterate the point. When you're reading these kinds of posts and you're thinking about, man, I can't retire until 65, that's absurd. Follow this strategy and you can do it really quickly. You're 1 or 2 deals away from being in a position where you could replace your income. Because think about it. If you're earning $36,000 a year, let's say you're in an entry-level job, you're making $36,000 a year. That's $3,000 a month. Well, I just shared with you how you can basically increase your income $1,400. So if you do that twice, right, in 2 years, in 1 year you increase it $1,400 a month, and then in the second year you do the same deal because remember, I'm saving you $1,400 a month. After 1 year, you're going to be at what's after 12 months, roughly, I don't know, something like $15,000 to $18,000, right? You'll be right around the ability to purchase another property like the one I defined above. So doing it again, you're going to be at $2,800 a month increased income. Does that make sense? I really hope it does, because if you have $36,000 a year job, in 2 years, I just explained to you a very simple way for you to essentially replace that income. Now, I hope you don't hate your job, and I hope you're working a career that you see yourself being in for at least a few years, because it makes sense. But the point I'm trying to make is that you can massively improve your financial situation in just a couple years and not ever have to worry about articles like this applying to you. Because by watching these videos, you're going to see how to do seller financing, how to be a financial hacker, and how to massively improve your financial situation in just 2 or 3 decisions. I really hope this video was helpful. I know I covered a lot and I reiterated myself a few times, but the key takeaway is that you can do it. This applies to you. You have the ability to do this and not have these crappy articles apply to you and have to worry about retiring at 65. You can do it in just a couple years by making sound financial decisions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them below. Make sure to hit like if you enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, make sure to comment on why you might not have or how I can improve my videos. But thanks again for watching.